Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today we're talking more Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out. I originally covered volume 1 quite some time ago, but now that volume 3's dropped and there's an anime out, it's time to look at it once again. Join me.
That Man and his Manga.
Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out has been published by 7 Seas, with the story and art by Take. It tells the story of two young 19-year-olds fresh out of college and just starting in their own little world. Senpai, who is, well, he's an angry looking guy. He's got one of those faces that scare people, but he is really considerate when it comes down to it. And the title character, Uzaki. Uzaki is a typical tomboyish girl. She likes games, she just wants to hang out, she likes sports, and she just wants to be your friend. And that is the whole thing with this story. In fact, it's a little bit like Toradora, a little bit more ecchi than that, but I got major Toradora vibes from this, especially with the main characters. The main male character, he doesn't really have many friends. He plays games by himself, he goes and does karaoke by himself, he goes bowling by himself because, well, he just looks like a scary all-around dude. And that's the beauty of this story. It's one of those ones where he's a bit of a loner, but he's not a nasty person. He's a person who is just often misunderstood. And the only person who really takes a chance on him is Uzaki-Chan. The first main character of the series is Uzaki-Chan herself. She is a fun, energetic 19-year-old. She has, well, you know, and she's quite short. One of her favourite things is that she likes to tease her senpai. She likes to really kind of tease him because he's one of those characters where he just doesn't settle down. He doesn't manage to do things normally. He over worries. He's a little bit clueless. But she's optimistic. She's bright and cheerful. She's the kind of the light of his life at this point, where he's just kind of, well, oh, I'll manage to do this, but she's always kind of like, well, you can do this, and perking him up a little bit. She gets him to do things out of his comfort zone that he wouldn't like to do normally. This includes stuff like going to karaoke, working in a store, going to like play VR, even going bowling as a group of friends. It's a nice way of doing things because Uzaki-Chan is that optimistic character that we all know a person like that. We know a person who is always optimistic and, you know, teases you a little bit for it. Shinichi Sakurai, a senpai a little bit older than Uzaki-Chan herself. Still, both of them adults. Shinichi he looks quite scary. He's quite a scary looking individual. He really likes his sports and he is really athletic. He's one of those people that the girls really like, but they stay away from him because he looks a little bit like a delinquent. Uzaki-Chan is the catalyst for him becoming a better person over the course of this series. He's rather clueless. He doesn't really know the way Uzaki-Chan feels about him truthfully, because let's face it, teasing is the first form of adoration. But I really like the whole concept of having these two characters together. Shinichi being the more aloof, the more darker character, whereas Uzaki-Chan is really cheerful. It's a nice contrast between the two and really makes the series. There are other characters who appear in the series, not quite as much as Uzaki and Senpai. These are the characters that keep the conversation going, the story going, because at the end of the day it gets rather boring when it's just two characters themselves. These characters tend to be friends and family of the main characters. The first two are Mr. Azuri and his daughter. They run the local coffee shop, which originally Senpai and later Uzaki-Chan both work at. They kind of find the whole teasing between Uzaki and Senpai to be rather amusing and rather adorable. They kind of have an idea what's going on between them. However, those two characters don't seem to know that quite themselves. So they seem to take great delight in just watching them being awkward young adults as they stumble their way through love. The other character that is introduced is a friend of the senpai. He's kind of a blonde, he's a handsome guy, and he's just like, oh well, yeah, But then he kind of figures out the thing between the two, and he's just like, yep, we're going to support you through all of this. The last character I want to mention is introduced in volume 3 of the manga, and that is Uzaki-Chan's mom. She is much like Uzaki-Chan. She's short, she's big, and she kind of is as oblivious as Senpai is to things. She knows this whole thing of Uzaki-Chan liking Senpai. However, she seems to have it in her mind that Senpai likes her instead of Uzaki-Chan. She seems to think that Senpai has a thing for her. And a lot of volume 3, a lot of the volume 3 manga is her having all these misunderstandings with Senpai, and it's just like, oh, are you... it's like, oh, this is what Senpai wants, and Senpai's just like, I just want to touch the cat. Except he uses the P word. And she's just like, oh my god, he wants adults, and it's all stupid and rather fun. The artwork of Uzaki-Chan is rather bold and quite cheerful. I really like the way the art style was presented. There's not a huge amount going on in each panel, but it does enough that it manages to get the joke across. You are going to see a lot of characters, a lot of still shots between the characters, whereas they kind of have these interactions. We get to see a lot of the kind of over-the-top reactions from characters such as Uzaki, and there will be some ecchi scenes in it, as you can probably imagine from the covers of the series. The ecchi is rather decent for the most part. It's not kind of that whole creepy ecchi that some. Is Uzaki-Chan still worth checking out? Now honestly, Uzaki-Chan has been the series that I have really enjoyed reading. Late last year I said it was one of my top series for last year, and that remains the case. Each new volume continues to be absolutely knocking it out of the park. You can have a lot of fun with this series, and it's not something that is too demanding. Each of the characters are interesting in their own right, and Uzaki-Chan and Senpai's relationship is something that is really, really interesting. I really like the whole dynamic between them. We have seen this kind of dynamic in other series, however Uzaki-Chan manages to do it with being rather fun. I really like the whole difference in the two characters, that it kind of makes it interesting. It doesn't wear thin after a few volumes, and I kind of feel like this is going to be a series that's going to manage to get up to around 9 or 10 volumes before slowly starting to fade away. It reminds me a little bit of Umaru-chan, where Umaru-chan just managed to continue going and continue to manage to keep doing stuff. The dynamic between Uzaki-chan and the main character is very similar to Umaru-chan and the main character in that. Whereas Uzaki is more of an adult. She's not going to be screaming and kicking her feet like Umaru does. I do really feel like they bring the best out of each other. And that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of Uzaki-Chan Wants to Hang Out, and is it a series that you have had your eye on? And if you are reading it or even watching it, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be most interested to know, because I've heard a lot of mixed things about the anime itself. But for me, for now, I'm going to continue buying Uzaki-Chan, hopefully until it ends. And I will see you next time. If you did like this, check out some of the other videos around here. There's plenty of excellent stuff that you will certainly enjoy. And don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.